What up, fam? It's your boy, Jay Nietzsche. Sitting here and just finished the code for my target lock on for the character. So, in theory, what you want to be able to do is as you're walking around, enemies are surrounding you, kind of Witcher 3 style. Click in the R3 button or press Q on the keyboard, and he'll lock to the closest target. So I'm going to see how that works. Hopefully no mishaps while I'm recording. I'm doing this raw, haven't practiced it. So take the sword off the back. I got an enemy behind me, which is closer, one in front of me, one way over there. So from here, if I click lock on, he should turn around and lock on to that dude. And he does. Why did he register 2 other lock on targets? Okay, so if I move around, he faces, and as I turn the camera, his animations update properly. So I'm closer to him. If I hit R3, I should turn around, and he does. Okay, so now, and I got the little icon above the head. I gotta fix the camera view. I forgot I even had that on. So I'm gonna go here. He should turn around, and there he goes. There we go. Just one registered target. One registered target. One. I'm probably have to pull the view. I know what it is. Wondering why my icon's not showing up, and quite possibly because of the size of the window. Let me see if that plays a part. Kinda. Yeah, well, definitely. I could see that one where it was getting clipped before. Yeah. I'm also going to add a function. Right now, the camera is free roam or free look. I was thinking about adding a button so that I could lock on. The camera would be fixed, but you'd have a choice whether you wanted the camera fixed on the target or looking around. Kind of a gameplay thing where you're going to have to keep your eyes all around you and focusing on what character you want to attack. Alright, so it looks pretty good. Here's a little bit of the code. What I do is once you press the button, it asks, are you in the fighting stance? If you're not in the fighting stance, then enter the fighting stance. And then if you are, it still goes to this, are we locked on to something? That's kind of redundant. I'm actually going to have more code because it does something if you're locked on or not. I just have to look at my notes to find out what. But find target. So then we go to the find target event, which also asks, I just want to be clear, are we in the fighting stance? If we are in the fighting stance, are we currently locked onto something? I got locked target not equal to. So is there anything in the scene, is the locked target actor variable, is there anything in the scene equal to this? If there is, then the first thing I need to do is get all of the actors, which my actors right now are the dummy dojo dummies, and then I do a for each loop, which for each actor I want to take the target lock off, because I was running into a problem with the target lock icon wouldn't go off, and so every time you locked onto a new target, a new icon appeared. So I do that, and then once that's completed, I go to find new target, and then find new target event. Both of these trigger. So if there is, if there's nothing in the scene, if you're not locked onto anything, it'll just go straight here. If you are locked, then take off the icon, and then come here. So then I do another for each loop, which I'm sure there's another way to do this without having both, but this was easy for me. And then for each loop, we do a find closest enemy. This was a custom macro. I mean, it's real easy to make. Custom sounds like a big deal. But basically what I do is you get the my character, which is Umbara blueprint, and what's going on here? Each array element, which they did for each loop, it grabs every dojo dummy in the scene. Later, I'm gonna update that to just be ones in your direct area, so that it's not, grabbing everybody from the level. You do it for each loop, and you try to find which one is the closest. And I have a locked target distance, which is about 1,000 Unreal units. And if there's anything closer than 1,000 Unreal units, then we make that the locked target distance. And this little setup I got from President Nelson, that's his name. He did Alice in Tokyo Wonderland. Did a little tutorial on how to find this. I thought it was pretty easy to implement. So once we get the correct target distance, we set that as our lock target. And right now I'm just printing out the name so I'll know which one that is. And once it's finished, we say, yes, we're locked on. And then we do a target lock on. And this is what brings up the icon overhead. So while it's running, once we're locked on, this is always running. My delta time is connected to what's the event tick. So I get delta seconds, and then event. I just put things here so I can place event tick throughout the level if I need it. They are heavy from everything I've read and seen, meaning it takes a lot of resources, so I'm only using this for like camera stuff or very specific conditions. But get the delta time. Are we locked on? Are we in a fighting stance? And then is there a valid lock target? And if there is, then we want to look at the enemy. And this is another one I got from the President Nelson tutorial. And what it does is it takes your character, gets its location, gets the locked on. This goes to the whatever character we're locked on to. That's the lock target. Find the look at rotation, which is, the line between those two characters. We break that rotator apart because we only want the yaw, which is the left and right spin. Then we make a new rotator using only the yaw, and then we have our character slowly rotate over time. That's my delta seconds, which is connected again to the event tick. To the delta time, terp speed, slowly rotate to that actor, or to that direction. Then we want to orient the control rotation as well, which I was having a problem where if you're pressing forward, my character would walk forward, but once you turn the camera around, up was still forward, and up should have been like left or right or something. It should orient to the direction you're looking rather than the direction the character is facing. So change that, orient control rotation, which is more logic from the President Nelson to, overview. You get the Umbara character, I'm referencing that, it's another blueprint. Get the camera's rotation, break the rotator, take the pitch and the yaw, which is the looking up and down, looking left to right. Make a new rotator, and then get the control rotator, control rotation. Then we interp to, which is rotate, interpolate to. You take the current and rotate to the new. And then we set the rotator. And then we ask, is the lock target still valid? Yes. And then this is a one that I had to put in kind of custom for me, because what would happen is Once you set a lock target distance, that becomes the lock target distance. And then the closer you get to another character, that becomes the lock target distance. And instead of the distance updating to how far you are from the character, it would just remain the closest distance you've ever come to the character, which meant you had to get closer and closer to each character for it to lock. This one I did so that it dynamically, or that over time it updates the set distance, which Umbara lock target is the same get distance to node. You just right click get distance to, and we set the new target distance. So that way this system is causing me to rotate to my target. I got some errant stuff here that we could just delete. The other ones over here I'm actually saving to set something else up so that you can press the button and have the camera lock too, which is what those are. Then I have a reset lock target, which I would call, when you want to lock off of everything. You turn the lock off, you reset the target distance, and I also have to reset everything else. So that's it. That's my little code that I implemented to be able to lock on the character. Oh, and you always have to have your sword in hand in order to lock. Otherwise, if I'm here and I'm clicking, it won't do anything. I didn't want you to, and I may do something if you have to fight. It might be a different condition. But for right now, I wanted the sword to be in your hand. Turn and lock on. Move around. You got that going. Turn and lock on. Alright. Then we get over here. Turn and lock on. Then if I exit my stance, it means I want to get the heck out of there and run from some enemies. Well, that's the update. Thanks for watching. Peace.